Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. It's of course the Weekend Warriors here, live on Sunday nights on Apex Racing TV. And this week, the Formula 4 Tour heads to Mid-Ohio, part of this highly condensed season of American-based tracks that we'll be visiting with a sprinkle of European and Japanese tracks just intermingled. It is in amongst the melee of American circuits. I'm Tim Cox. Mukumo is in the virtual production trailer. Charles Michelle joins me incredibly shortly. But first off, let's just take things through the championship standings. We've got qualifying underway in the background. Christian Kabanka leads by 40 points ahead of Jason Green in Spec 1. Overstreet, our reigning champion, lies third, some 16 points adrift of Green. Then we've got McConnell, Jason, Alessandrini tied on points for 6 with Thomas Renders. Then Hamada, Zerbs, and Morgan Burkhart won it last time out. Not with us this week. One and done so far, but 100% record for the young American. Across into Spec 2 now, and leading the way there is Paul Stevens on his debut season in the championship. And he's got nearly a 30-point lead over Benjamin Harris, who lies in second. Fernandez, he's at 20 points behind in third, but then this is when it gets a little bit tight with Bottas, 9 points behind in fourth. Then a bit of a gap opening up. It's a fifth place, Jeff Saunders, Steno Montgomery for Bruges, Bossegode, and Andrew Benner rounding out the top 10 there. It's a Masters, always fiercely contested, this championship. Yorgmani leading the way there on 3-2-1 points. Like that. Antonio Race in second. He's 22 points behind, so a bit of a gap emerging at this stage of the season, but I can tell you they're both here and punching well in the early stages of qualifying. Alan de Gassius riding high in third. Jim Brewster up into fourth after a good solid few weeks here in the championship. Gary Walbort fifth, then it's Toms, Ray, Coffey, Laurie, and Murakami to round out your top 10. Charles, welcome along. Interesting layouts that we're racing here at Mid-Ohio. I've not done this one before. Smealy's queued up beautifully. You see the track layout in the top right corner. That additional chicane come, well, before turn 2 proper, what we normally associate as turn 2. Through right on board, because Murakami can experience it now.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Thanks for having me. And this is I guess an alternate layout to the normal Mid-Ohio circuit. It's got that little chicane that's not really a chicane. It's more like a couple of corners, but it's enough to kind of break the speed down the straightaway. So it's going to for these cars who like to tow on those long straights, it's going to kind of break that toe up just a bit. And give the drivers a little more challenge. It's not really a layout that's used very often. I think this is the first time I've actually seen it being raced. So yeah, it's something to look out for. But this is obviously Mid-Ohio is a very, very technical circuit. Lots of elevation changes, lots of tight corners that you're trying to carry your momentum through. And there's just a couple places obviously that's going to catch you out, and we'll see it during the race, especially I think in the keyhole section. So we'll catch that here in a bit as we see Murakami pull off and reset. I believe this is it right here. Yeah. So no, we've stitched back. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a very technical track with a little used layout, and it's going to be interesting to watch how these drivers handle that and see if they've got enough practice this week to navigate it cleanly.
I saw an interesting video earlier in the week by American guy on YouTube. I forget his name. There's lots of iRacing content, like, you know, random fat stuff around iRacing. And that sort of additional chicane forms part of a small Legends Oval that's up at that part of the circuit. And I mean, Legends Oval, I think he said it's only been raced once in iRacing officials' history.
That's interesting. That may be the least used circuit layout.
It's joints. There's it depends how you view it, because there's ones that go back even further that have been, you know, a lot of American roval circuits that just aren't utilised, and things like Tsukuba 1000, and yeah, a few of them come back into popularity though, just for memes in recent seasons. But yeah, where they've been used twice in its history. But yeah, I think it was a very long time ago, certainly before my iRacing career. But into qualifying, and deep into qualifying, 3/4 of the way through in fact, Kubanka on pole. This is taking that a lot longer away from Jorg Marni. Look at that, 300 seconds separating our top two. Obviously hasn't long moved up into third place, and I've got all the usual big names, the stalwart big names, shall we say, of the Weekend Warriors Tour, with Marni, Overstreet, Soto, Race, Green, Murakami. Oh, they're all in there. They're all in that top 7.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's the names that we mentioned a lot during the course of the season. Obviously, Monty Ben, he's always up front. It's odd when he's not up in the top 5. Even as a Masters driver, he's just such a good racer. And yeah, Montgomery managed to get up in the top 10 for qualifying as a Spec 2 driver, which is really good. Just, 3/4 of a second off the pole. I do notice the times are a little more stretched out. That may be because of the track and the layout that we're using. So obviously, Mid-Ohio is used obviously for IMSA, and then the U.S. Open wheel cars, which will not be named by their officially licensed designation. But we all know what we're talking about there. And so, obviously that's real life racing here. So iRacing usually does a good job of mimicking when these tracks come up on the schedule. But yeah, it's going to be fun to watch these little Formula Fords navigate the circuit.
So you're mentioning about the Indianapolis automobiles there.
Correct.
I think that's what you're referring to.
That was neat.
There's Antonio Race. He's up into 5th now, and like you say, Kubanka's gone faster again on his last lap, 130.74 to extend this gap at the front to just over a 10th, in fact 8 thousandths over a 10th. There he is, your pole sitter, the American. But look at it, I think the way he just keeps extending it, and those top two certainly really pushing one another right now. I mean, maybe that's just what's leading to, like you say, a large time disparity across our top 10 of a second. That's, I think, in the whole of, I guess, Murakami for a bit of a spin on a bit of a trip across the infield, man, the grass, the groundskeepers. But I think, yeah, that's probably the largest pace disparity or gap, however you want to word it, really, in Formula Ford Weekend Warriors history, to my recollection.
I think so. Just like I said, normally, we've got every car on the track will be at the top 20 within a second. Generally speaking, everybody's within a couple seconds. But yeah, like I said, I think it's just maybe the track or maybe this configuration of the track that's just kind of stretching these gaps a little bit more. But once these drivers get going and they start getting that good slipstream, they get the trains running, and it'll be much tighter racing, I believe, than what we're going to end up seeing here in qualifying.
Yeah, it's what we've seen largely across the season, isn't it? There's 10th place sitter Stevie Ray, who's a series organiser. Good to see him back after he's been away for a little bit. With real-world SCCA duties and meetups and all of that good stuff. He's also organiser of the SRF Weekend Warriors, which you see coming up later on the channel. In around about, just in a couple of hours' time, we'll be live from VIR, myself and Charles. Similarly, to get the pleasure, unfortunately, of having that with us, but Lewis will be with us in the virtual production trailers to cover that one, which you also have in the middle of the week on Tuesday nights, the Ray Esports League. It's always fascinating to watch that one. But coming to the closing stages now, and are you seeing anyone improving out there? I'm not really.
I don't see. I think we're pretty much at our limits here. With everybody on their last laps here in the next 10 seconds or so.
I say that because Schumacher just goes faster again. Margie, checker flag is out now. He's managed to eke out around about another 7 thousandths of a second out of his lap time. Slim margins if there ever were one, but seems to really be cementing that pole as Sander Bruges sets up the new iRacing gravel off-track physics here at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, it's nice to see those cars stopping in the gravel traps as opposed to what we saw in real life here with those same Indianapolis cars earlier in the year, where one just kind of tumbled until it ended up laying up against the barrier. Very, very, very scary situation.
It's the beauty of sim racing. You can just reset. There's no costs involved and no injury unless you've cling hold of your direct drive wheel. As Chris Givens just moving up a place there. It's a 19th. Good lap by the American, cementing his place inside the top 20. 2 drivers yet to set times at all in qualifying. They won't be setting them, in fact, because the checker flag are already out, being John Toms and Morn Human. And, well, let's see whether they take to or not. One of the newer drivers, and John Toms, the Canadian, definitely a stalwart becoming after this series. As Jason Green across the line, we see any improvement from him. 130, 132 is his previous best, and no improvement from him whatsoever. So I think we're pretty much done here. We've got to probably only have we've got about 30 seconds left before we transition across into race.
Yeah, I will say that I did notice that we will get a tightening of Spec 2. I don't see Stevens, who's our Spec 2 leader, on the grid. So that means that Fernandez and others will be able to make up some of those points.
There is Benjamin Harris, who currently lies second in the Spec 2 Championship. Quite possibly one of the most angriest driver pictures in iRacing. That's for certain. I think it's slightly improved, but a cartoonified version of what he used to have previously. As we head across into the race session. Now, let's take you through your grid. We have Christian Banker on pole. Some display from him in qualifying. Yogmani joining him on the front row. Then it's Overstreet and Josh Stoto making up row 2 with row 3. Antonio Race and Jason Green. McConnell and Murakami make up row 4 with top qualifier in Spec 2 Montgomery in 9th, and Stevie Ray rounding out that top 10, making up one of 4 Masters drivers inside that top 10. Coffey and Harris. Harris has mentioned second in the championship, row 6. Row 7 is Saunders and Sander for Bruges. Gary Warbolt and Rick Wishen making up row 8, row 9. Being Alan DeGattis and Andrew Levin, all Masters row there, followed by an all Spec 2 row. We've had 2 all Spec 2 rows in the form of Chris Scriven and Jesse Bottas running out top 20 on row 10, row 11 being Philip Fernandez and Andrew Harding. Kai Brendel, the German, starts 23rd next to John Toms, and Morn Human, the South African, running out the 25 car grid, although a human yet to take to the track, and neither has Rick Wishen either, starting 16th. But I think they've got a few seconds left before they need to take to the grid. Yes, they have. While we're doing so, let's have a mention to our sponsor for this series, which is PDA, or Precision Data Analytics. Precision Driving Analytics, to give them their full fat name. Now, Ray Phillips even has over 30 years of experience in motorsport and has raced both open wheels for most of that year, almost 20 years of all that time. He's found a new passion though in helping others and perfect their craft. He can fulfill the role of a data and racer.
And I believe we lost Tim. All right, so we're going to continue here, and we'll see if we can get Tim back as we're doing the short, looks like the short pace lap, as we have the cars coming up to the line, coming in out of the last corner, and green flag is in the air, and Kabanka out to that lead, get a good jump on the start of the race, takes it down into turn 1, followed by Monty, Overstreet, Race in green, your top 5, Soto, who just moved up to P3, side by side with Overstreet. Good line into that the chicane, as we mentioned earlier. Looks like we had everybody get away clean from the start, as we've got a look here at racing P5. A little battle further back with Harrison and Verbruge. They've been swapping that position over the last couple of corners. Here we go. 2 wide. Somebody looking to make it 3. No, we're going to go double file 2 wide. Get into this very, very tricky set of corners here. You have to slow the car way down, get a little elevation change. Car gets very light as it comes over the crest of that hill. And you got to try and reset.
Wow, my internet just quaked under the excitement and anticipation, Charles.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I'm completely with them.
Yes, definitely. But I'm amazed. I was intrigued watching them come through the chicane. And how are we going to get on? Was it going to be clean, or was it going to be one of those to the wow.
You said clean, and the commentator's curse part 1, as we see Overstreet around.
McConnell also involved in that too, and I saw Jason Green having to take to the grass. So there's Overstreet. You can see it in that iconic pink livery in the 44 car. So she's just lost the rear here, I'm going to guess. Oh no.
Ooh, in the grass. Pulls it back in, and yeah, I think just was still carrying too much speed through that corner.
Well, Green managed to avoid, but I think he had a clatter for a McConnell from behind. So those two managed to stay on track. Green dropped a place because of it. But it's really broken up that lead group, hasn't it? Kabanka and Marnie, they've sort of headed off well into the distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Soto with them.
Yeah, as we see, Soto's actually just jumped in ahead of Monty. He's into P2. As we're coming down. Oh, another spec.
That's Montgomery around and down to the back of the field. He's going to have to sit and wait. There we go. Yep. Flicks the car around and off he goes. But another one, the victim here today. And he was engaged in that lovely little battle. Excuse me, in the midfield. Was there any bit of contact? Or, I mean, it's so easy to lose the rear here, and that's what happened.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. Just like I said, this section of corners is very tricky. Because of the elevation changes, when you get through that one, that you really have to kind of brake pretty hard forward to get your speed right, and then you come over the crest of that hill and you're trying to turn at the same time. The car just gets light, and it's just very difficult to control through there.
That is incredibly early from Murakami. I do wonder that see if one of two things: qualifying field left in, or he encountered a bit of damage because he was caught up in and around when Overstreet had her spin. Montgomery into the pits too. So of course the drivers do have one fast repair to their name. But Montgomery's actually jumped to the pits, interestingly. So maybe something a little bit more to him. But yeah, short stops for the both of them. So I think that's just the minimum amount of fuel that they could take on. But they're going to have to stop again because that is not going to be enough to get them home. It's Jeff Saunders just making a little move there on Rick Wishon.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a good move there. Just coming out of that corner, you're carrying the speed down. This is because of the chicane, I guess the fastest straightaway on the track and the longest. So that's going to be your passing zone. But once again, it's a very tricky corner to navigate. So passing is going to be at a premium there.
Most certainly is indeed. Most certainly is indeed. Well, it was always a bit of a tricky track this anyway to get overtaking moves done at the best of times. Kai Brendel's had a bit of an issue further down through the field. Although, interestingly, it's because of the issues for Murakami and Montgomery. Something about being called Chris, isn't it? Or they fall into the back of the field, so Brendel is actually still up one place from where he started. That's Andrew Harding, and he's not the only one. Scriven too.
Yeah, that's another one of these that it's a throttle management type of section there where you've got to get the car slowed down to navigate, and then you've got to carry the proper amount of speed for the penultimate corner of the track to get down to the final corner. And if you get it wrong, you'll just end up looping the car. I think that's the biggest key, as I think we talked about earlier. I think it's the elevation changes down here, because it seems like all the hills and dips have corners around them, so that makes it very, very difficult to get everything headed the right direction. So you will see a lot of off tracks like that during the course of this race, probably.
I thought I'd seen Josh Soto on the grass, and we're seeing a replay, so I think that just confirms what I've seen. But bit of contact there.
I think so, a little wheel to wheel as Monty was looking to the inside to make that pass. It just either mistimed it or maybe somebody moved when they shouldn't have.
There was a loud clatter, but no obvious damage to either of their cars. So, bit of a strange one. Both of them getting away with it. Kabanka though, 2.6 seconds Charles clear, and we're only 6 minutes in. He's checked out.
He has. The battle in between Soto and Monty, and then the little contact slowed him way down. So yeah, he's got that gap. So now it's just a matter of trying to manage it.
Speak about John Thompson, the build-up didn't set a lap time in qualifying, up 7 spots now into 17th. He started 24th, the Canadian. He's having a stellar race so far. You can see the position changes on the time and tell left-hand side of your screen. We're about to see another one here, side by side, Coffee and Ray. And Coffee's still coming out on top in this little power struggle over 7th place right now. Ray poised, and I think this feels like when, not if.
I think so, yeah. And this is, the battle for the final podium step on the Masters class. And Ray with a nice move, well done. And he's going to kind of cement that position.
Gets the job done to Stevie Ray up into 7th at 3 spots now. Jason Green, the next target, 2.4 seconds up the road from us though. He's embroiled in a bit of a battle with, McConnell and Ray, so hopefully that one, so Soto not too far ahead. So those guys from 2nd through to 6th, still evenly sort of spaced out between one another, but not really. Standard Weekend Warriors fodder, really.
It really is,
Not really bothering each other.
No, they're just kind of marking time, as we would say, to get to that pit stop. And, so you'll have some guys back here who are just content to kind of stay behind and fuel save in order to shorten that pit time and maybe gain a couple of positions in the pit cycle.
Looking at those pit cycles, Overstreet into the pit, so is Andrew Harding as well. Now, looking at the clock, will be tight, but they can get it home based on them pitting now. So Overstreet's done that to try and get herself in a bit of fresh air here, because as we spoke about, literally only what 2 laps ago, it's tough to overtake around here. So yes, okay, you might have the speed difference, but it's no easy to get held up behind people. So it's one of those tracks where I think the undercut could actually be advantageous to you.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's exactly what she's trying to do is go ahead. I'm in the pit window. Let's go ahead and take the service. We'll get some clean air and be able to run our pace. So, wow, okay, no, that's maybe she had damage from that, and as we see Stevie get sideways, good catch on that. Managed to hold that car. So yeah, as our producer Samuli said, we had Megan with only a 4-second stop, so maybe she came in and took her faster pair. As we see
Ray
Stevie, yep, Ray's off, cost him 3 spots, and they're still jockeying a little bit there, so managed to get 1 spot back from the checkups.
I'm not sure if there wasn't a bit of contact between himself and Harris, because Harris's car just seemed to twitch a bit unnaturally, almost like there was, you know, he had a bit of a shoulder barge almost from Ray, which I know seems a bit weird to say in these open wheel cars, and you know, as open wheel cars, you know, so the suspension is even more exposed on these. It's basically, you know, like a bullet-shaped chassis with sort of like 4 prongs, cocktail stick for prongs, you know, shoved out with the wheel attached in each corner.
Yeah, absolutely. These cars are obviously not built for door banging because they don't have doors. But yeah, it's you know, you can get by with a little side-by-side wheel touch, but once they start getting a little bit rougher, you run the risk of damaging your suspension, or one of the wheels gets you know, off cambered, and then you're struggling for the rest of the race. So it's one of those that you can get away with a little bit of it, but not a lot.
You try telling this lot that though. These epic squabbles go down over 7th right now. Coffee, Verbruge, Ray, Harris on board with Harris right now, who's desperate. Well, I would be anyway, just to stay out of trouble. You know, big opportunity for Harris today in the Spec 2 Championship to really haul in some points and make up for some lost ground. Of course, there are drop weeks available to the drivers, but even so, it's a big opportunity, and we'll be definitely hoping to try and come out of this on the other side with a solid result.
Yeah, I think that's you know, obviously, yeah, you get the drop round, but you know, you want to maximize your time on the track. So every you know, if you can replace if you can drop a race where you didn't maybe had out of the top 20, as opposed to a DNF, then obviously all these good finishes matter.
Banker set the new fastest lap of the race charge, 1:31.1, which is 2.5. No, actually, no, apologies. Just so it's the closest, but still, he's 12 hundredths of a second slower in terms of his fastest lap pace. And well, battles are plenty down in the midfield, isn't it? Andrew Love having a real go here at Rick Wishu. I think Wish is just going to be able to defend this here. And it's a crazy part of the circuit, isn't it? Because sometimes you be on that outside line with so many switchbacks, it's advantageous, because then, depending on where you are in that circuit, in that phase of left-rights and lefts and rights again, it can actually play to your advantage to be hung out to dry on the outside, because you can then have the inside into the next corner. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's not one of those that you just want to give up the spot through that section of corners. As we see Stevie Ray coming in, who is normally our first taker for the undercut. So we now know that we're well and truly into the fuel window for this race.
Well, that we are indeed, and it can be interesting. It's going to come out, obviously, I'd imagine, at the sharp end of everyone who has stopped so far, being Murakami, Overstreet, Scriven, Harding, and Montgomery. Although Montgomery has retired the car on lap 2, currently on lap 9. But on top of that as well, we have got people who are going to have to stop again. And let's have a look. So Ray stationary for 16 seconds. So Murakami and Overstreet in front of him will have to stop again based on that. Scriven was in his pit box for 35 seconds. So clearly fixing a bit of damage, not ticking the fast repair box in that trip to the pits. But we'll have enough fuel to get home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be Ray's good to the end. Murakami Overstreet will have to stop again for more fuel. So that'll be a couple of spots he can pick up. And we'll see how he can make his way around by himself with some clean air, if that'll be to his advantage in that battle that he was in with Coffee, Harris, DeGassis, and Love. Ooh, this was another car round. That's Andrew Harding. Already a couple of laps down, so he's just having a rough day today.
Well, there's Gary Walbot in the background there. You saw just, well, you'll see in the foreground now, just darting into pit road. Definitely quite a few drivers electing for the early stop today. Seen this in a while.
Yeah,
Probably
absolutely.
Since the last time we visited Mid-Ohio, I would probably guess is that we saw this number of early stops that were not damage-induced.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right there. As we see another car, it's Fernandez. Wow. So P3 in Spec 2 in the championship is off. Looks like, I'm not sure how he got to that spot. So let's take a look at those replay here.
Good on entry. It's into the chicane. Oh, running out wide.
Yeah, it's too much. Got in the grass and couldn't collect it in time up against the tire barrier there.
Now my end, his front nose did disappear once it came off and then reappeared on. Nico clearly giving a bit back today to some of the drivers, and yeah, definitely helping out Gary Walbot there. But well, this battle still reigns on. They've lost Stevie Ray out of the group, but they are reining in. No, so Verbush has got ahead of Coffee, hasn't he? So that's happened off camera. Harris and Gassius has come to join the party. That's what's changed about this as well. Coffee bails on them. So where will he come out in relation to Ray, who was battling away with these guys? That's our new sort of benchmark for this group, where the indicator is really working here today.
Yeah, and Ray has gotten by Fernandez. Obviously, Fernandez with the crash is probably way off the pace with some significant damage to the front end. Yeah, and way off the pace indeed.
That front right does not look fully connected to me.
It doesn't either. No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not connected. So, yeah, he's iRacing is being generous, allowing him to have a fourth wheel. It's just kind of there, but it's enabling him to get the car back around to the pits. And we haven't really talked about pit entry and pit exit here, but pit entry is tricky for the driver coming in because it's on the outside of the racing line. And so you can carry a lot of speed in there, but then you have to really kind of whoa up on the brakes because it's a very, very tight corner entry and to hit the pylons.
A little bit similar to Laguna Seca where we were last week.
It is indeed. Yeah, so it's very similar to that. I don't think the corner's quite as tight there. I think it's got a little more room that you can work. But then pit exit can be tricky because it does it's the inside of turn one, and it's a very tricky entry because if you come out at the right speed and depending on where the traffic is, some of these cars, I don't know about these, but some of these cars will take a very, very shallow corner if we see a car off.
Oh, it's Josh Soto. Wow. Well, that's going to really shake things up at the front, isn't it? Because
it is.
He wasn't battling away with Marnie over second. Race had caught up to the back of these two due to their battling. And it's the same place that we saw only one lap ago. Wow.
Yeah, and just carrying too much speed, trying to stay in line and losing the rear of the car. These cars don't have wings on the back, so there's, this is not a Formula car where you've just got this mega amount of downforce. You can lose the rear quite easily in these.
And that is the second time today that Antonio Race has had the racing gods on his side in terms of damage avoidance from the spin that's happened literally right in front of him. The overstreet in the opening stages spin, and well, yet again now from Josh Soto. So it could be Portuguese driver's lucky day, possibly.
It seems to be so far.
So we're up onto lap 13, unlucky for some. Soto into the pits. May well have cooked those rear tyres, and that's why he's elected to come in and just fully cover off any damage. As we said, we'll get home. We're not far off halfway stage in the race. 40 minutes here today, as always, in the weekend warriors. Bruges coming under pressure from Harris. De Gas is behind them. Now, the two drivers that were caught up in this battle, Ray and Coffee, obviously have stopped earlier. Now, Coffee came out just over half a second behind Ray. So, undercut, I would say, Charles, is working.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Ray did pick that spot up on the pit exchange as we see Sutler coming up and passing Soto. So, oh no, Soto's out. I'm sorry, misread it there. So yeah, Soto's out about 8 seconds ahead of the Ray Coffee battle.
Well, these lot going out each other once again. Andrew Love getting up close and personal with the rear end of a Bruges car there. Dutchman, well, would have been unbeknown to what was happening behind him. Yeah, contact as we saw McConnell getting the move turn on Harris. And moving himself up into what is now 5th on the road. Though they will leave that places, I believe, anyway, to Josh Soto. Let's see, the pit stops to sort of cycle through, although Soto is caught up in a bit of traffic right now. Behind Murakami, Overstreet and Bottas in a little four-way fight over the 13th place at the moment.
Yeah, I was kind of watching and listening to the drivers. Oh, as we see coming in just a little too hot, but hey, you know what? You got a little grip in the grass now, so let's take that line. It's good.
Well, there we go.
Oh, so obviously, here's the other tricky part of this is you got to be cognizant of where your pit box is because he just drove right past it.
Such a shame. Oh, and the tyres being changed as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not looking good for John Toms, is it? After that brilliant start from the Canadian. I think he might have just undone all of his hard work there. Bottas into the pits too. Well, it's been an eventful opening 21 minutes, hasn't it?
Really?
We can't deny that one, how can we?
No, we can't. Yeah, I think Bottas just decided he wanted to get out of that battle with that group of Murakami, Overstreet, and Soto. Obviously, very, very quick drivers. And I think he had, as I was listening to them, and he was kind of letting those drivers through as best he could. So he said, you know what, maybe let's come into the pits now and save the trouble. Ooh, as we see, De Gas is around from P8.
It's going to be P11, isn't it? By the time he sorts that car out. But there's a gear in there somewhere, Alan. You'll find it eventually, my friend. There you go. Well, that's cost him even more time. Wichan, Murakami, Overstreet, all passing him. Love into the pits as well. Wow, I mean, I can't remember a time we saw the mistake from Murakami just allowing Overstreet saying thank you very much around the outside. Nips on through. I can't remember what time since we've seen so many early stoppers. It's a bizarre one, but it's all happening here today. So it's just really spacing out this field. This halfway stage of the race. And having said that, we've still got some cracking battles going on, although not all of them strictly per se for position due to drivers. Well, I say that because actually now De Gas has fallen behind Overstreet and Murakami. Those two do need to stop again. So De Gas has actually found himself embroiled in the battle that we would have expected to find himself in.
Yeah, he's not in there, and then Soto obviously having the issues is probably out of place. So he'll want to try and obviously make up as much time as he can on the track. So it would not surprise me to see Soto getting by the gases here in short order.
Run through the standings this halfway stage. Kabanka leads commanding nearly 7 seconds over Yomani. Second, Race third. But that's not the top three in Spec 1 because you have to go to Green and McConnell, you can see here, to find them 4th and 5th overall, 2nd and 3rd in Spec 1. Obviously, Marnie and Race First and second in Masters, with Murakami down in 11th. And well, in third in Spec in Masters, but does have Alan Degassis right behind him, so that could well change.
And another pit stop due. So,
well, yes, that is very, very true, isn't it? So that is a real going to be a dogfight coming in the race. On board with Josh Soto, of course, out of position due to his spin. See just how they drift these cars through turn one, and in front of us is Alan Degassis, who we're talking about. Soto stuck in this battle with Overstreet, Murakami, Degassis. However, Soto has stopped. We'll get home to the end, I believe. Well, he's a bit short. I mean, 11 seconds stationary versus 16 seconds for the likes of Ray and Coffee, who only stopped what, about 4 and 2 laps prior, respectively. So needs to get this move done early to Soto.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's that 11 kind of looks out of place a bit. Like maybe he's short fueled. Maybe with the battle he was with Monty in the early stages. Excuse me, he'd actually done a bit of fuel savings. We see race off and now into the pits.
Well, it's one way to start it out, isn't it? In terms of your Spec 2 battle, didn't quite get onto that due to what's happening on track. They were all line astern, 6th, 7th, 8th overall, respectively, for Harris, for Bruges, and Saunders. With Harrison for Bruges being very, very close together. So, a lovely, lovely little scrap for the lead in win in Spec 2 happening on your screens right now. 3/4 of a second. Those two are separated by Saunders, some 7 seconds behind, so they can afford to lose a bit of time, can't they, for a bit of battling, although they seem to have just calmed down since they've lost people out of this group that was having a real good hard fight around the sort of 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, as you can see, as now that we've had one of our front runners race come into the pits, Overstreet's only 2.5 seconds behind. And she had that very early spin, has already pitted. So obviously you're seeing the strength of that undercut here by her coming in early and getting in some clean air. It's actually helped her, I think, make up a little time on the track. And obviously she's got to pit again, as well as Murakami, but definitely is going to help her in the end, at least maybe get a few more positions before it's all said and done.
Yes, I think well, and especially if the first half of the race is anything to go by, there's going to be more mistakes in this race, so still chances to pick up places from that. And also, especially as these tyres heat up more and more and more, and wear away as we head deeper and deeper into this race. Relatively cool track temperatures though, Charles. 25 degrees Celsius, what, that's about 74 Fahrenheit, is it? Oh, 77.
That was very close. Very close.
I'm getting better at this whole conversion to freedom units malarkey.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's not a really warm track. I've seen Mid Ohio in the low to mid 40s Celsius, which is 110 Fahrenheit, somewhere in that neighborhood. So yeah, for that kind of standard, yeah, this is quite comfortable and should make for some to keep the tires under you a lot longer, and maybe not end up burning them off unless you're doing a little drifting as Soto was doing there. So we see Ray off in the gravel.
Well, that's going to shake things up a little bit, isn't it? Because he did lots of hard work to make the undercut of Richard Coffey, who's now ahead of him by 1.8 seconds, despite Ray being ahead of Coffey by 6/10. So that's all changed there. Soto has got past Murakami off camera. Overstreet 1.1 seconds up the road, so he's looking to gun her down next. As for Bruges has just got his way past Harris for the lead in Spec 2. It's all changed there. Well, straight into gets the move done and comes straight into the piss. That's the way we like it, Sander.
Yeah, and so we've got still, it looks like the front seven haven't pitted, along with the gases, and Brindle is still looking like they haven't pitted yet as well. So we still got a few cars out there that are running it long. Ooh, as we see another one
But how did Rick Wishon just miss Saunders there?
I have no idea. I
I
have
mean,
no idea.
that was Saunders was. I mean, could do nothing. He was out of control, spinning, rotating around. Samuli's probably going to provide us with the answer right now. On board with Richard. This is how he missed it. There goes the rear. One twitch, two twitch, getting caught on that curb. Oh, a beautiful. Oh, there was a bit of glass on the way
Maybe a little,
through.
yeah, a little tap. But you know, wheel to wheel, that's probably one he's going to get away with. I don't think there's going to be any problem with the car. But yeah, it was a great job. Just, you know what? I'll take this off track here in the grass and maybe not hit that car that's sideways on the track. So very, very well done by Wishon.
Samuli coming in with a brilliant slow-mo, perfectly timed replays there for the key parts of the action here from Mid-Ohio in the Formula Ford weekend Warriors here live on Apex Racing TV. So, sit rep, Kabanka in first, through to Wishon in sixth, all yet to stop. Overstreet needs to stop again, currently in eighth. So does Murakami in 10th. Gassis, Saunders and Brendel all yet to stop. Just having looked down through the order, other than that, everyone else has stopped and won't need to stop again. Well, there you go. There comes Wishon, and there comes Overstreet into the pit lane. And
Yep.
Saunders in 2, so there's definitely still early. Definitely still early, but coming into by normal standards, I would say. No, actually, no. We're at the half an hour mark, so actually,
yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, I'll take it back, Charles.
Yeah, I think we probably got maybe 1 to 2 laps left before everybody's got to be in. So, you know, we're getting to that point to where if you're running long, it's about that time. You're just about out of fuel. So you need to come in and top it off and finish the race. Normally around the 31-minute mark or so. So, yeah, I fully expect to see the rest of them in, like I said, within the next lap, maybe 2.
Interesting one for me though is Jason Green, always the master of pit strategies, fuel saving, etc. There goes Marnie from second into the pits. There goes Green once again. We'll expect to see him carry on. How deep can he go? Because this is a bit of a circuit when you can use the momentum to your aid, where you've got those. Yes, you've got quite a few uphills, but also you've got quite a few downhills coming through corners where you can lift and coast. And although Green's looking off the pace, that's sometimes, for me, from my experience watching Jason Green over the years, that's normally a time to be a little bit worried in equal measures, because he's normally got something up his sleeve.
I'm just as you mentioned his pace. His best lap is 500ths off of Kabanka's, so he's obviously got a little bit of pace in the car when he wants to apply it. But yeah, you know, we always talk about Green as he's now running second, that he's really good at maximizing his fuel usage. He's not out there looking for the lead and making passes every lap. He's content to stay where he is and do fuel saving. And yeah, you're right. This track seems like it should be really good for fuel saving. You can just kind of coast down into these corners and just kind of roll through them, and should make things a very quick pit stop when he gets ready to come in, as we see the leader in now.
So, yet to stop still are obviously Kabanka, who's now in, Green, McConnell and Harris, and also Kai Brendel, who's in 9th. Well, there's your answer. Green in, so that's going to be as far as you can push it. I say that, I think I've just seen Harris go on again. He's going for another lap.
Yeah, that's
No, he's a bit further back. Apologies. I
yeah,
thought he was
there
further
we
around
go.
the circuit.
Yeah, here he is.
Okay, into pit road he comes.
So the only person that still hasn't pitted is Brendel, and I would expect him to be in also here this lap.
Germans renowned for their efficiency, Charles, but I think he's going to he's going to struggle to eke out any more.
Oh, Soto again.
Wow,
Yep,
well
there we go.
spotted. Not Josh Soto's Dare the Races.
It is not.
He's running extremely healthily early on, but just that mistake in the sort of just a tiny touch of the grass there. Oh, they clattered by Murakami. I think, yeah, he's just checked. So he's like, do you know what? I've had enough of it. I'm done with this.
Brindle was his stop. He's done and back out.
Look at
Yes,
that.
Sir. Yep.
Look at that. Look who's second.
Jason Green.
And he was off the pace, wasn't he? He was well down on Marnie, but he's now 2 tenths ahead of him. And it's game on for second.
Yeah, 3 seconds quicker through his pit stop. And that's made the difference.
Wow. Wow. I mean, Marnie's going to make his life an absolute misery, I would imagine. For these remaining 6 minutes and change, I would not like to be in Jason Green's shoes. But we know he's like the proverbial sponge, isn't he? He'll just soak this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, no, you know, we don't, you know, he does a lot of fuel saving, but obviously, you know, his results show that he is a very, very good driver. So yeah, we'll see how he handles the pressure of Monty, because you know Monty's, I think, is just, you know, all out pretty much the entire race. So we'll see how he can manage the onslaught here.
I think right there in the form of onslaught. Harris looking good for that Spec 2 win. He's come out well in advance of Sander Barucci, was battling with earlier on. Murakami into the pits. Of course, his second stop of the day, and McConnell being pushed hard late on by Antonio Race. The 4th overall, of course, these two on the podium in their respective classes. McConnell 3rd in Spec 1, Race 2nd in Masters. But Antonio Race knows full well that Marnie will start getting stuck into Jason Green, which is going to mean that they're going to lose time, and he wants to try and get past McConnell as quickly as possible. He's ticked that one off the list. 3 seconds is the gap. And if these two get side by side for, which they could do, and then you get locked side by side for quite a few corners quite often. And it's amazing around here just how much speed and time you can lose in one lap because of it.
Yeah, this, you know, as we talked about that already, as we see Monty just on the edge there, yeah, once you get into like this middle sector on the track, if you're side by side, then you know you could be side by side for several corners in a row, and you're losing tenths every corner. And the next thing you know, you're a second and a half, 2 seconds behind where you were, and the people who were in front are further away. People who are behind are now, you know, sniffing, looking to see if they can stick their nose in as well.
That gap is shrinking a little bit. They've managed to take a tenth or two out of them, but with less than 4 minutes left on the clock, I think Race is just praying as there's Gary Walbolt off the track. He's well down 3 corners, so it's not going to affect things too much. Yeah, Race there be desperate for Marnie to just start getting stuck in straight away, sooner rather than later, please. And certainly us as third-party viewers would love to see a four-way battle for 2 places left on the podium overall here from Mid-Ohio. Just having a look through, so your Spec 2 podium looking pretty set if they can all keep on the track. That's Harris for Bruges and Saunders, 6th, 9th and 14th overall respectively. And, well, actually, 3rd place in Masters, still very much up for grab. 3 tenths separating those two. That's Coffey and Ray, who were fighting before the pit stops very first started. What, Ray pitted on minute 12, minute 13?
I think that, yeah, somewhere around, I think 12 minutes in. And then had that little wobble that allowed Coffey to get ahead, and was ahead by a second and a half or 2 seconds, and Ray has kind of made that gap back up, so he's going to try and get that final podium position.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for Stevie Ray. But looking out for all of our drivers. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. It's going to give us, well, Christian Banks halfway round. Certainly 2 more laps, including this one, possibly 3.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be 2 or 3. I think Monty's not really, he's kind of looking, but he's not really trying to force the issue just yet. But he's seeing, okay, what line is he taking? Where can I possibly make a move to get that spot away from him? But he's managed to just be patient for the time being. But you know, he's any mistake by Green at this point, and you know, he's that position's gone. As we see Ray looking to the inside there, now back to the outside.
Trying to line him up, isn't he? Just get him where he wants him. You know, planning moves, corners ahead. Look, can't get it done this time around. And as they come across the mark, Banker's just crossed the line. Gonna be close, but it was
it was. Yeah, it was within a couple of seconds. I'm not sure.
It's not. There you go. Barney is furiously waving the white flag. So it's definitely one lap left to go from Mid-Ohio. Wow, guys. You've got to dig deep. You've got to give it everything you've got right now. One more set of opportunities to get moves done. But I just can't. Well, I'm struggling to see it happen, Charles. Oh, McConnell just a little bit wide there. But that could be the minute difference that prevents him from overtaking Antonio Race.
Yeah,
overall.
I don't think he's got the run down the straightaway here to try and make a lunge at the end. As we see Stevie Ray looking to the inside there, not so much. He'll be looking to set this up also. Is trying to get this run out of this corner to get the run down the straightaway to make that move to the inside. As Green and Monty are just basically stuck together at this point.
I think Green's just done a stellar job on Monty here. It's so hard to take around the back of the circuit. Meanwhile, they go side by side between Coffee and Ray for the last place on the podium in Masters. Ray ahead, but he's on the outside. Coffee swoops down. He tries to squeeze Ray, who tries to bring his car back alongside. But he's going to be on the outsides of the corner here. They almost touch wheels. And Coffee's defended it, and Ray's around, and that decides that one.
Yeah, I think they actually did touch wheels, and I think that might have assisted Ray in that spin there.
Well, there you go. Kabanka wins it here. Green fends off Marnie for second. Race fourth, beating McConnell. What about Spec 2? Benjamin Harris, he's going to win that one, and comfortably in the end, by 10 seconds over Sander Verbruge. He did have that spin, didn't he, mid-race, and I think that's what's hurt him.
Yeah, it was a great race by Harris to win Spec 2 and finish 6th overall. So great result.
Needed it as well in terms of those championship points. Big opportunity for Harris, and well, he's taken it with both hands, hasn't he?
He has indeed. Yeah, Overstreet. Yeah, I was going to say, there's Ray in 11th. I was just going to say Overstreet managed to come back and finish in the top 10, even after having to make 2 stops.
That is really impressive. I mean, yes, aided by a few mistakes by majority of the field, but even so, she had her own. So they all had them. So to recover it like that is spectacular.
I think if we asked our drivers, I think they would be glad that this race is now officially over with.
I'd go with that one too. By the sounds of her, Overstreet chugging down the back straight, I would say she's timed her fuel to absolute perfection. Let's have a quick look through the results with everyone across the line. Kabanka taking victory here today. Comfortable 11.7 seconds lead. Well, he got out into the front, and from that point onwards, he never looked like anyone was going to beat him, get him, hold a candle to him. Green finishes in second. Great strategy from him, as always, beating your Marnie, who's third overall, but your winner in Masters. Race fourth and second in Masters, with McConnell fifth and third in Spec 1. Harris, your winner in Spec 2. Coffee in the end, that last lap battle. Lunge from Ray didn't quite work out, and he ended up spinning, allowing Coffee to finish 7th overall and 3rd in Masters. For Bruges 8th, 2nd in Spec 2. Then it's Overstreet. You said, Charles, a great recovery from her. Rick Wishen, 10th overall. Solid result from him. Ray Murakami, Degasius, Santa Saunders in 14th and 3rd in Spec 2, with Love, Brendel, Bottas, Warbot and Toms still on the lead lap. Chris Givens rounds up the top 20 and 1 lap down. So was Philip Fernandez. Josh Toto into retirements now. He retired the car back on lap 20. Andrew Harding on lap 18. Chris Montgomery on lap 2. And Maud Human did not make the start list for chapter some of our drivers. First up, we've got our race winner. Christian Kabanka joins us now. Did you find that a bit boring out in front? Because you just got out into the front and, well, no one could get anywhere close to you.
I don't know if I ever found it boring. I have lost races in the past where I've just lost concentration. So I've always focused on being consistent if I'm out in front, if I have the pace.
Well, you certainly had the pace, and you're definitely consistent today. Lap traffic, there's a lot of mistakes from, you wouldn't have seen this from people, meaning that they fell further down through the order. Just talk about that and sort of how you maintain your focus and try and pass them without losing too much time.
Well, for this league, at least, the lap traffic is really cool, is really nice because everyone is so kind and forgiving. So usually they let me go through the long straights, but everyone today was very nice, and as I said, they let me through in the long straights. I didn't really lose that much time.
I mean, you must have a bit of thing for this type of circuit because you only have a win coming at VIR. I've got Willow Springs next week. Sort of similar-esque circuit. You surely must be feeling confident for that one.
I don't know. Willow Springs is not one of my best tracks, to be honest. But, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Jason, Megan, Jorg, and Antonio, they're always very fast. So they're always going to be very competitive. So I think they'll probably mount a bigger challenge next week.
Well, we'll find out next week. Congratulations, Christian Kabaki, your winner here today from Mid-Ohio. Charles, I would ask you you'd like to speak to next, but I get the feeling I know the answer to this already.
Well, us old guys have to kind of stick together. So let's talk to our Masters winner, Jorg Monty. Jorg, you had a very interesting day. You were battling early with Soto, battling late with Green. So you were busy all day.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise it would be boring. No, just a joke. No, it was it was kind of weird race actually because Chris, no, what's the name? I forgot it. Anyway, he dropped us quite quickly already in the second lap, and we couldn't follow him anymore. And then suddenly Joshua in front of me lifted, and I don't know why he lifted, and so I banged into his backside actually, and I thought I had a little bit of damage since then. So I could not match up my race pace anymore after that, and so I was quite happy, to end up third, and congrats to Jason as well. As usual, top pit stop. I'm miserable in pit stop, so that's why he passed me.
Yeah, well, we always talk about Jason having being the quickest guy in the pits. But yeah, you had a great race though. I mean, third's nothing to sneeze at, and like I said, you get the Masters class win, extend your lead a little bit in the championship.
Yeah, that sounds great, and sad for Antonio that he could not keep up. He catched us a while ago. But then suddenly he was gone. I have no clue what happened with him, and but after that it was quite a nice race, but I'm expecting more in the spec race after that.
there we go. All right, Jorg, thanks, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good evening. Right.
Bye.
Well, I mentioned about Jason Green joins us now. Jason, I said in commentary about how when you seem to be, lagging behind a bit or looking like you're off pace, normally it's a bit of a dangerous sign that you're absolutely nailing the fuel saving and the pit stop strategy. That seemed to be how it worked out today. Just how easy did you find it to fuel save around here?
Oh, I didn't do any fuel saving today. I was pushing.
Oh, really?
100.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I was pushing 100%, trying to make up for my bad quali. Lost a little bit of time when Megan unfortunately had her spin, so I was just pushing flat out, trying to get past Michael first, and then trying to catch up to Antonio and Monty. So I think I actually took a lap more fuel because the race went a lap shorter than I expected. So yeah.
Yes, it was incredibly close. Christian, I think he just literally about a second or two earlier, and he would have made it across the line, and we'd have had one more lap left to go, which I think definitely would have caught out a few of the drivers. But looking ahead, something more positive. Week's time we head to Willow Springs. Looking forward to that one or not?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last season when we were there. It's kind of a draft track, but it's also very, very tricky. Pretty much every corner you're right on the edge, in the fast corners and the slow technical section. So yeah, it should be a super exciting race, I think.
Definitely looking forward to seeing then. Congratulations, Jason Green, second overall here today in Spec 1. Well, that's all we've got time for here and now from Formula Ford. We'll see you in a week's time from Willow Springs for that one. But coming up on the channel around about 15 minutes, no, just over an hour, in fact, hour and 10. We've got coming up on the channel the SRF Weekend Warriors, where we'll be heading to VIR for that one, no less. Myself and Charles be in the booth for that one. But thank you very much for joining us for the Formula 4s. Congratulations to the Dominate, Christian Kabanka. We'll see you in a week's time, as I said earlier, when we head across into Willow Springs. See you then.